weirdly enough. We have 3 requests. When is the date again? The request for an extension?
Extension permit for orders of condition,
For Cutler Road.
Cutler Road. To be signed. 7/30/2025.
7/30/2025. That's when, and it,
What do you mean, 7/25?
that's when.
July 30th, 2025, they wanted extended to.
Oh, they want to extend it too.
And when did it expire?
Let's see, it expired.
Oh, you know what, I think that this is what it was, June 15th, 2020. Okay, I got it, I think.
2021? No, that's when the,
No, yeah, when did we
No.
issue the permit?
let's see, signature page. April 24th, 2019.
Okay. And then July 30th, 2025 is when we can put it to, because there's a tolling period, there's a bunch of stuff. Hi, Adam.
Good evening, Joyce. How is everyone?
Everyone is fine. We're having a little bit of a,
That's Cutler.
oh, where's this? I don't see. We don't have a time for Ronnie, so we can kick
We
that
do
off.
not have a time for any of,
All right,
so,
do you have the paperwork printed for Reed Street and ZPT Coy Hill?
yep. Let me see, ZPT Coy Hill.
Coy Hill on the agenda tonight?
Well, only that we approved an extension for them, but we didn't sign any paperwork because it was kind of a impromptu thing for us.
Okay,
We-
because I know nothing about what Pete's done.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Pete actually
That was
sent paperwork. He came to the last meeting and asked for an extension. And we gave it to him, even though it was a little late.
Okay,
You know, but with the tolling and everything, it was probably like 6 days late. So we're like, you know, good enough, because there's still work that needs to be done there. So we approved it, but we just need to sign it.
okay. I was listening to the date you're talking about, like, this isn't fine.
No, and there's actually another solar project that's looking for an extension too, so you guys are all on the same page.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, nothing like squeaking in on the back end of this polling period stuff, and trying to figure it all out.
Well, you left yourself a little bit of wiggle room here, right? I think you have until
I think
next
you're
month.
more than 30 days out.
Yep, I think that you're good. Okay, so for this, we're, Philip, when are you coming back?
I'll be back tomorrow night.
How easy is it for you to get into the town hall, or it isn't? It's not, because you get home late, right?
Yeah, I get home late typically. It's not easy. It's not open on Friday, right?
No, we're not open on Friday. What I can do is I
Alright.
can take this and, have you sign it on my porch like we do. And then I'll get it to Corinne, and then you can send it out to them when you come in next week.
Perfect. Yeah, I can,
That works for me. I can stop by tomorrow night.
Okay, all right, that is good. I'm just gonna do this, and I'll move this ahead. All right, so here is the thing, Adam. We are going to have a discussion about ZBT Energy Solutions on Reed Street. So, what happened with the project? You had studies done, what was going on with the project, and do you have a permit with the planning board? Not that that's really my business.
So, as far as what's going on with the interconnection process, we've had about 10 projects throughout Massachusetts that got dragged into an area study right around the same time. This was all like in 2020, and then of course with the pandemic, National Grid taking forever. And so there was an area study, and in this case, this one was, I forget the name of the study, I put it in my letter. It's the Munson-Palmer Longmeadow East group study. So it took National Grid a couple of years to go through their stuff. You know, it was just an impact study, they did a group study to see how all of these projects would, impact the substations in the area. And then they went to like a higher level view looking at transmission. Well, after all that time where we thought we were in the clear and they were going to start issuing, interconnection service agreements, they decided at the last minute, along with other studies in the state, to basically hand this over to the federal government, the Department of Public Utilities. And they have capital improvement program studies, which is a larger holistic study beyond what I know, being a civil engineer, not electrical. So that's where we're at now, and I believe it started in December. And those studies tend to take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, and we just weren't given a timeline. So once we get this study from the state, that's when we'll start looking to get an ISA because it'll go from DPU back to National Grid, and then National Grid will finish up their ISA. So it's been difficult for many projects, many developers over the last few years. So that's all I know of what's going on with the study. And to answer your second question, as far as planning goes, I believe it expired technically, and our team is handling something with that. I don't know what's being done or if it has to, so I was just asked to extend this permit. And within the next 12 months or so, as we're waiting for this DPU, whatever with planning, there'll be, some sort of action with that as well.
Okay. All right, so right now you don't really have a project, but you're hoping to have a project, is what you're saying.
Correct. So basically the interconnect is still in process. We paid the fee studies and moving towards it. We still have site control with the landowner. And there's something with planning that, our other development team that's working on is working towards. I don't really have the full answer of where they're going with that, but they plan on resolving something with planning, if this DPU study proves fruitful, because there's a chance that the study could come back and they say we got to pay for substation, and then, this project and others in the area are dead. So it's hanging by a thread.
So, I got a call from Pete, gosh, I can picture where I was in Hadley, it was a sunny day, and he said, Reed Street's dead, we're not doing it.
I've heard it back and forth so many times, and it's been like this with a lot of projects, right? You get a little glimmer of hope, and then you think it's gone, and then there's a heartbeat, and so, in the interest of the landowner and wanting to do something with his land, and with there still being hope with the study, that's why we're trying to extend this permit, the 3 years, and then obviously at the conclusion of this DPU study, we're gonna know where things are at, and at that point in time, they'll have to make a decision with where they're gonna go with planning as well. So we know that there's work to be done on that end with that permit, but the landowner does want us to keep this alive. We do as well. Take it to the end of the study and take it from there.
Can I add? The DPU study is by the federal government, the electrical company?
Yeah, Department of Public Utilities.
But-
I'm
and
not sure, is that federal or state?
That's what I'm asking, I don't know.
I don't either. I just, I handle the environmental permitting and civil engineering type stuff, so I'm just getting information from our interconnection team on this.
All right, but the electric company's somehow involved, they were talking about substations, right? I mean,
Yeah, so National Grid is who our original study was with. And so obviously they are the local and they own the utility. And then the DPU, they're, basically our project's been handed over to them for that. I actually have the notice that Pete sent to me for this. I might be able to tell you exactly if it's state or federal.
All right. Well, state is 2 years, federal is 10 years?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's, okay, that's just, I just
That's
was
a
wondering.
Massachusetts,
The DPU is Mass?
it's Massachusetts Department of Public, but there could be another level in there.
Okay, so it is Massachusetts. I'm looking at the group study proposal notice. Apologies on that, but, so yeah, state level.
Okay.
So, Philip, do you have any questions? Did you hear everything?
Yeah, I could hear everything. As long as it's just an extension, I guess I don't have any questions.
I agree.
So, I'm just gonna express this one concern, Adam. We approved this project based on the fact that it is going to, a solar project.
Yes.
So, if for some reason that this ends up going to something other than a solar project, I would like to have input on that. So.
I only work for a solar company, so if it's something else, I won't be involved at that point.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, right now, you don't have a permit for the planning board. We have an access road that is going somewhere to a piece of property, and whatever ends up there, the access road that's designed is really gonna handle the, heavy equipment for a limited period of time, and after that, there's gonna be somebody driving on that road once every 6 months, every 3 months, something like that, and it's not gonna be anything substantial, right? It's gonna be a pickup truck and a couple of whatever. So, I just wanna make sure, or figure out a way to make sure that we are sticking with that plan. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure, I mean, obviously with the needing all local and state permits, right? Not having the planning board one, that has to be resolved, because there is no project without that. So this is just an extension for the project at hand. And if it ever gets back to planning board and we have to go through that process again or make modifications, we know that we may have to come back before you for a superseding order of conditions if there is any modification to the footprint, which obviously nobody wants that to happen because it's easier to keep everything exactly the same.
Right, well, we would like to keep it, or if the traffic increases because there's something else that's gonna be built there as opposed to a solar project. You see what I'm saying? Because there is
So-
no project right now,
So
right now.
can it be worded that way?
Well,
To an extension for the stated.
Well, the original plans are mentioned, right? In the
well,
finding?
right, the original plans, I mean, the project does have plans associated with it, but we are approving plans for,
For a access road for specific plans.
specific plans, right.
Any change in the plans
Requires a change, right, okay.
change in
Well,
approval.
ever change in the plans, but the plans only are conservation's portion of that.
Correct.
So, if they change the whole
Well, if they
back.
change the plans, they have to change their access road plans. I don't know how you would it, right? I mean, as you just stated, the approval was for building a solar farm.
Oh, an access road to a solar
And if
project.
it's anything other than a solar farm, it's null and void.
Right, okay, yep, I just,
Wouldn't that be right? I think that'd be right.
yes.
Would it be a modification to the original notice of intent, which then results in a superseding order of conditions? Would that be the process?
Yeah,
Or would it have to be a brand new NOI?
it would be,
Well, it may be past due, depending if the timeline may run out here.
it would be a modification though.
It would be modification, no matter what.
I have no issues with how you want to word it to protect anything. I mean, we had no intention, if this were to resurrect itself fully, it would be in the form and function of what was already approved. The solar project wouldn't change, the stormwater wouldn't change, everything would be as it is. I mean, with the solar project,
Yeah.
with all the projects you had in town, the fence, the drainage, everything stays the same. The array itself may change slightly within the footprint because of procurement of modules, but that's really it.
So I think that my only concern is that if for some reason something happens and there's an increase in traffic over, I don't think the access road is really built for that. So that's just ultimately my concern. And here's the thing that I think that I may wanna do, Adam, which is, I'm sorry, a little bit more work for you, is that I think that, if we do approve this, I'd like to make it just for a year and see what happens. I don't wanna leave an open-ended thing for it to be 3 years of nothing. Like, you have a year to figure out what you guys are gonna do, cause it sounds like you're gonna have something in a year. And then you come back with a project, and then you get 3 more years. Does that make sense? So you really are gonna get 4 years.
I mean, I guess I don't see an issue with that. Obviously, we really hope to have an answer in the next 12 months, or I guess 13 months from now, which would be from when that 1 year is from. So if that's what you feel the town would like to do, I don't really see an issue with that. Obviously, I'd like to work with as much time as possible in the event that DPU or National Grid or somebody drags us on, but if that's the case, then we'll just have to come back in a year and do this again.
Can I get another extension after a year?
We can extend it until,
Another year after next year?
or we can extend it as up to 3 years each
Right.
time.
Or so.
Or
just do
we
it
don't
by
have
year
to,
Yeah, or we can do it by a year.
So, okay, here, our options are to not issue an extension at all, because there's no work that's been done on it. We can issue an extension up to 3 years, or we can do anything in between.
I think 1 year sounds reasonable from my point of view. That gives them 12 months to come up with what they're doing. And if they need more than that 12 months, they can come back to us and reapply, hopefully with, more of a plan to say that, things are kind of solidifying and they're actually gonna do something as opposed to just continuing it, and dragging it out.
See, the thing that happens when the extension goes on is partly we lose track of stuff, and also, between now and then, some regulation can change. And right now, they're locked in with something, so that's also, it's a long time to lock something in.
For, not a year, you mean 3 years?
Yeah,
3 years.
I'm fine with a year,
okay,
personally.
all right. We are going to have to cross out a date on this sheet.
I can send you the Word form, if you want me to modify it, unless you're finding it now. But
Oh, you know what, you can do that, because we don't have 3 people in the office. So if you do that, I can print it out and then, and the signature page is separate anyway, but yes.
So we'll make it 2024 instead of 2026.
Yes.
Okay, I'll revise that right now and I'll mail it to you momentarily.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve a 1-year extension for the Reed Street ZPT Energy Solutions project?
Motion to extend for 1 year, 749 Reed Street, project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. I'll look for that in the email. Thank you, Adam.
Well, thank you all. I will send that shortly and enjoy the rest of your week.
Yep, you too.
All right, take care, thanks.
Okay, so I'm gonna sign this. I'm gonna have you sign this too. And then Philip, I'll have 2 documents for you to sign.
Sure.
So is Coy Hill staying the way it is?
You. All right, this one, I'm crossing out. Okay. These 2, go with me. We have,
Now,
yep,
you've mentioned this before, that maybe the state's gonna be changing your solar farm policy? You haven't heard any more on that?
the state,
Well, you know, now that some of the inside 495 towns are being swamped with solar farms, and the legislation is raising a fit.
well,
You haven't heard anything coming?
no, because so far I know of at least 3 pieces of legislation that are dealing with allowing towns to have, to reasonably regulate solar. Right now, it says they can't unreasonably regulate, so there's pieces of legislation in place, well, there's bills in place. Hopefully, somebody will pass one of them,
All right,
but
that's it, all right. Okay.
the people that I'm in touch with that are tracking this stuff don't see a lot of forward movement with that.
Just a few more of those towns inside 495, and there will be some.
Including the chapter 61 legislation too,
Oh, right.
because they're gonna lock that out of
Oh, they're
forest.
gonna knock that right out? Can you
Out
take
of
61 out?
forest settings, there would be a no
loss of.
no net loss of forest land for solar,
solar.
if it passes.
But just
Right.
forest, not the open trail land, what is it, 61B or C or something, where they,
This applied to 61 forestry, and I believe it also applied to 61A, but there was no mention made of open land. It was targeted to no net loss of forest land
okay, so, all
for
right.
solar project expansion.
I was just wondering about the farm land, the fields, but that's.
Well, they may amend it, I don't know, but right.
Well, there
right
is
now-
legislation that says no forest and farm,
And farm, oh, it's.
no forest, so one piece of legislation, it says no forest and farm can be impacted by solar, and it needs to be, towns can disallow it, and I think that they can allow it if they want to, but they're allowed to disallow, especially on that. And then they're restrained in other ways. Another piece of legislation just gets rid of the Dover Amendment section that says unreasonable regulation, and another legislation is somewhere in the middle of that. And then there's one about chapter 61, they wanna loosen up the bootstraps on chapter 61A, they wanna take away the first right of refusal,
That's not good.
among a bunch of other things. Make it easier for people to get into forestry, but not long-term, so that means warehousing land, and so that's kind of a problem. But they do have that nice little thing on the back end about, forests can't be used for solar. We'll see.
We'll see.
Philip, did you go out to see, Albany Street, that stuff on Albany Street from Ronnie Cox's property?
Yes, I did. I did go to see that. There's quite a bit of wetland back there when I went and looked.
So, I went back
and-
there with them.
What's that?
I said I went back there too, so, one of the wet areas was really fed by a storm drain.
Hmm.
I don't know
Okay.
if you saw that, so if you walk through the series of tunnels, you get to the section that's completely filled in with water,
Yeah.
and, but it's still like within the brick walls, and that
Yes.
is just a storm drain. but the beginning of it was a little bit wet, but he's not gonna do any work over there.
Okay, the beginning of it closest to center of town.
The beginning of it, well, you know what, I'm gonna officially open this. Let us open, a public meeting for 26 Albany Street. It's an RDA. Ronnie Cox owns a series. I don't know how much land it is, but it's, a piece of property on the back of West Warren Main Street. That's the way, you know, the Main Street in West Warren. It's across from, it's behind all of those apartment buildings. And, it used to be an old mill. And so the mill is knocked down. Right now, there's a long tunnel that's made out of bricks. And it's also lined with
Granite.
granite. Oh, that's right, sorry, it's granite. It's a granite arch. It's a tunnel. I went in it. Did you go in it?
Yes, I did, yeah,
Until the point where there's a ton of water
right.
in it, and then, but if you turn around and go the other way, it's a series of arches, but the building had fallen down, and then there's like a big place where the turbine existed. Anyway, it's a very cool structure, but there's also, some pretty significant drops, and there's a lot of people that go back there, and he wants to, get rid of the tunnel. Some of the large granite pieces are falling in a little bit. So, anyway, now that you went and looked at it, what do you think?
It's pretty close to the river, but as long as he doesn't bring the machine close to the river, I don't know exactly how he's gonna get back there with a large excavator without doing a whole ton of disturbance.
Oh, because his property, I don't know how far down you went, but it goes almost to, the area behind, Whiskey Hill and, you know, the library. It goes back pretty far.
So between that back spot and that tunnel, there is at least one, if not two, streams, running streams. So he would have to have a couple of stream crossings at least if he comes in from that direction.
Ooh,
If he comes in from the riverfront or from River Street direction, he can hug that chain link fence pretty closely. But it's gonna be a tight squeeze to get in there.
he is not here today, and I'm really, I'm gonna see if I can, I'm gonna open up a file and then share it. Look at this, flower power. Everybody gets to see my stuff. What are we gonna call it? West Warren, Mass. And then we're gonna do this. I'm gonna share this in just a second, Philip.
Sure.
And we're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna get to. All right, let's just see if I can do this. Share screen. There we go. All right, you see that?
Yep.
And I'm gonna say no thanks to that. Okay. This is it, right?
Yes.
All right.
So you can see that Pool Street Brook right there.
Where's Albany?
Um,
Oh, there's South Street, here's Albany Street, okay. Oh, this little brook. Oh, okay, I see. That's kind of where, oh, is that where this storm drain comes in? Okay, I did not see that. Wow, all right.
So you think he can come in, he owns over here?
Well, he owns this, you know, when you go down Albany Street,
Right.
this used to be whatever, so he can come up this way, cause he owns all of this, behind all of those buildings.
Right.
He,
Yeah.
he owns, like a road's width, plus everything. People are just putting their stuff on his property, but he owns that.
Okay, but, does he go, but you thought he came all the way out here, no, or is that?
Well,
out
we
here?
walked to a point, and then there was, I didn't see a stream.
It's about 3 feet wide. It was running pretty good when I went back there.
I went to the point where, interesting, I got to a point where it was, did you go through like all of the, I got to the point where the brick circles ended, and then there was a big pool of water
Yes.
within
So it's further
structures.
down from that.
And then past that, there was a section that looked like there was a series of bays made out of brick.
Yep.
That was where that's past where he wants to do the work.
Yes, past where he wants to do the work.
That's
So I'm
beyond.
just, you said he was gonna come in from the Dippin' Donuts side, so that was my concern, is he's coming from Dippin' Donuts, it's on the other side of that street.
Oh, I thought that, I remember wherever I was standing, I could see that, but that little, and then there was a storm drain, and it was probably it was coming from the road, but that was dumping out into, it's like there was a series of walls, but the walls were gone except for like the ends. All the walls in between were mostly gone, and then there was like a little bit of a foundation, and there was some water in one of them that was substantial. I'm like, all right, where's that water coming from? But then there was some storm pipe. And then at the beginning, when you go down Albany Street and then you go behind, like the beginning of it is somewhere around here, where
Yeah.
this comes in. So it's like right around here, and there was some water here. You said
Yeah,
that.
it was wet when I was back there with a little bit of skunk cabbage, just starting to poke up.
Oh, okay, wow, all right. Okay. Maybe we need to go back out, like, because I didn't see anything that wasn't filled in with like, I didn't see skunk cabbage, I didn't see, and I guess I wasn't looking that hard, but I didn't see like, it was like a little wet, and the first part of the tunnel was wet. But it had
It was a little
also,
bit, if you're standing and looking at the tunnel, it was off to the left toward the river. It was a depression area, probably, I don't know, a couple hundred square feet, 400 or 500 square feet of wet area.
yeah,
I was there probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and it was just, not a lot of skunk cabbage, but I think I saw, maybe a couple of them, 2 or 3, just beginning to poke up.
okay, so he needs to maybe, have somebody go back there and figure out where he can work and where he can't work.
Hmm.
Like, maybe having a wetland guy go out and figure out what is wetland and what's not.
Right.
And then, like, I don't have a problem with him working and taking the stuff out, but it's.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with him taking the structure out. It's just getting to it I have concerns about.
Okay, all right, so he might just need to come up with a plan. Okay. I wish you were here tonight. At least we could have a conversation with him, but.
Well, he's gotta come to next month's meeting.
Yeah, so we'll send him a note, tell him to hire somebody to come out, make a set of plans, flag the areas that are wetlands, and then, give us like a specific, like, did he give us, I have the plan in front. Oh, he's working right up to the stream.
It didn't seem to be an awful lot of room, the way he was talking last time, but
No, there's not a lot of room. He's gonna need a big machine to get those blocks out, to dig that tunnel out. He's gonna need a full-size excavator, and there's not a whole ton of room back there to maneuver it.
Well, the whole fence, there's a fence and then there's a wall that drops, and then it goes
Right.
over, and then the tunnel comes up. So there's like a space between the tunnel and
The fence?
well, no, there's like the fence, there's a wall that drops, and then the tunnel is in there somewhere. There's a lot of junk, and there's a lot of like crazy vines, and it's kind of hard, it's kind of hard to see. All right. He's gonna have to spend a little cash on this, okay.
I would suggest go over and notify him with whatever you said, hire somebody, whatever, however you wanna word it.
So
Come back
maybe we
next
need a
week,
set of
next
plans
month.
with a wetland delineation on the
Yeah.
end, and plans that show the area of work in relation to that.
Yeah, I definitely like to see something with area of work, for sure.
Yeah, a limit of work. And then how he does it is fine, but something a little more substantial than this. Okay. Okay, that
Agreed.
sounds good, all right. Is there anything else that you'd like to request or add?
I could show you some pictures, I don't know, I tried to hit the share thing, but it said that it was, only the host can share it, so I don't know if I can show you pictures of it.
Yep, I can, remote control. No, hold on a second. No, let me go back here, share. No, that's.
See if I can find them.
Come on. Multiple participants can share. Okay, you should be able to do it now.
All right,
Oh, I'll stop sharing and then you can do this.
let's see if I can figure out how to do it.
I have a bunch of really cool pictures too, but I didn't upload it to my laptop, so I can show.
I don't know if you can see all these pictures. You see that one? That's,
Right now, it just
that's
is,
off in the distance.
I don't see anything except for, oh, there we go.
No.
Ah, okay, all right, I see. And that's near the beginning.
Yeah, that's looking off toward the beginning. So I mean, that's pretty wet right there. And the soil was saturated.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's more than rain. See, it just rained out when I was there, so, and I didn't see any vegetation, so it wasn't.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that it had been standing there. It was more than just rainwater.
Okay. You have anything else?
I'm looking. Let's see if I have any other good ones.
That's looking towards the beginning, I take that picture.
That was, yes.
See, I was on top, standing on top of this thing.
So that's kind of standing on top of it, looking back down at that. So that's where,
Oh, hold
that's
on a
looking toward
second.
the building on Albany Street.
It's, oh, there it is, okay. All right, so that's standing on top looking,
Back toward his building on Albany Street. So the building is
Oh.
kind of toward the pop center.
yep.
So
and
to
then
get
the
from
wet-
his building back there, you're gonna have to kind of go through that low-lying wet depression area. You can see the river off to the far right corner.
Yeah, but you know what, he wouldn't come this way. What he does is, there's an access, sort of, that goes back this way, and then it goes behind, in between, where you're at and, the apartment buildings.
Okay,
So he has a road back there, and that's how he would, so the apartment buildings, or they're condos, actually.
Yeah.
They all own land up to a certain point, and then he has he owns the land, and it looks like somebody has driven on it, so it looks like like somebody's access way. People put their
yeah, I
stuff all
saw
over
that,
it,
that
but
dirt road looking type thing.
that's actually his. Everything from that point onto the river is his.
Okay,
So that's where he would go, so he can just go in back and he can tool around and then he can go in that way, so he doesn't even really need to go to this area. But on the other end, there's that river, I don't remember seeing the river, but when I look at, this map that he drew, it looks like he wants to work right up to that, and I'm just gonna hold this up, can you see this? It's all like fog.
Not
No,
quite,
yeah,
not really.
so,
I got another one, I got a picture of that river, that School Street brook that he wanted to work in.
oh, yeah, let me see. Let us see.
So it's a good sized brook. I don't know if you can see it from there.
Not
It's a few
yet.
feet wide.
It takes there's like a little lag. Okay, there we go.
Ooh,
Wow, okay, we did not see this. We did not even go remotely close to this. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of water.
yeah, I would have seen that.
Yeah, it was moving, and it was flowing good. It's not
Really?
just a storm drain.
Hey, Philip, is this what comes out of the Beaver Dam up on, way up and back?
Yes, that's exactly where it comes from. It comes from the Beaver Dam up on North Street. It
Yeah.
flows behind Spring Street and then comes across 67.
All right.
Does that go under anything on this, on his property? Wow, that is like so completely different from what I,
No, I don't think it doesn't go into any tunnels on his property that I
Okay.
saw. It's kind of like this, it's all channelized. Once it goes under 67, it kind of gets into this rock channelized thing.
huh, okay, interesting.
And it goes like that, right to the river, Phil? Philip?
Yes, it does. Yep.
Oh, that's quite a channel of rock.
It's quite a channel, it
Yes,
is.
it is. Wow.
All right, well, okay.
It might also be perspective. It's not as deep as it looks, like as far as height wise. It's only a few feet tall. I think the phone's picture perspective might make it look taller than it is.
I know, I totally get that. It's clear though, I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty stream.
trying to see what, I have pictures of the tunnel, which I was impressed with. I took pictures of this thing that looks like a rhododendron. It was totally green, and it was on top of, I'm just gonna text this to you, because I'm like, what is this thing? It's green in the middle of,
It might have been a rhododendron. If it looked like one, it could have been. They hold their leaves throughout the winter.
but it is like on top of a tree. I mean, it's like,
Oh.
there was all of this fallen. Anyway, I just texted it to you, and it's just bizarre because it's way up there. There's all of these cool arches.
Yeah. Yeah, the structure was cool. It's a shame that it's going to be torn down, but it's not ours, so
I know, I was like, oh, really? I could show you guys some pictures, and then that is where he's gonna end it. Yeah, I don't,
So the big question is gonna be how he leaves the property. We know he wants the granite,
right, he wants the granite.
but how is he gonna leave the property when he gets all done? Like,
he said he was going to bench it. Like he was going to slope it down to the hole, I think, is what he was talking about. But it didn't sound like he was going to replant anything, if that's what you're asking.
well, we don't want it more dangerous. It's a danger issue now if the tunnel's collapsing and it's a big drop off on certain parts of it.
So the large drop-off, he was going to, so there's a couple of things that he's gonna keep there, but he's gonna, either put a fence up on, like, there's a couple of structures that you can walk over.
He's not gonna
But
spend
he
money.
was going to, likely, he was gonna move earth, so
Right.
there's not going to be a huge 15-foot drop.
He says.
Right.
We need something more secure than his, I'm done and gonna leave now.
Okay, so you want.
Don't you think? Because we don't really want him to dig everything out and then just walk away from him and have a mess.
Yeah, okay.
It's gotta be,
That brings up another point. I think last meeting he had mentioned he might fill it in when he said he was going to slope it down and fill in the hole. One of his comments was, well, I own a sand pit. While that's true, if we're starting to dump, big loads of sand down in there, that brings up more issues about, filling in other spots. It might migrate, be eroded in. And again, now we're talking about dump trucks being brought into this area, so it brings up access issues again. So if that's his plan to bring in big truckloads of stuff, we kind of need more solid details about that.
I totally agree. I don't know Ron Cox personally, but I don't trust anybody.
Well, yeah. So what we can do is have him be more precise about his plan. If he is going to fill it, then it's in Riverfront, he'll have to file.
Well, I mean, he isn't quote unquote gonna fill it, he's going to slope it, make it less dangerous. I don't know how you wanna word it, cause even then it's, unless you have
It needs to
an
be,
engineered plan of what the grade's gonna be and all the other stuff, you're kinda like just trusting him that it's gonna be better when he's done than it is when he starts.
right,
So I don't know how you wanna put it.
right. So we need to know what the final grades are gonna be.
And now, if he doesn't, what's gonna be the,
And that they're stabilized. I mean, ultimately, it is
right, it can't be washing into the river when it's all done. Well, I put it in there, now it's gone.
Right,
Well, that's not acceptable either.
right. Okay,
I don't know how you, what you do, but I think there's a little more here than he just wants to grant it, and then I can see him just leaving it, because, oh, I'll get to it next year. I'll get to it next year.
right.
I'll get to it next year. My equipment's down, but I'll get to it next year.
We could ask him to
Yeah.
file a notice of intent, which ends up being a lot, a bigger thing, but it sounds like it could require that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, looking at it, I think it might need that. It's a big project, it's a lot of earthwork, and it's close to the river and wetlands.
And you,
it says whether the area depicted on the plan or maps referenced below is an area subject to jurisdiction. It is, and it's potentially grandfathered, depending on the work that's done. And then the other question is whether the work depicted on the plans referenced below is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. And again, it could be grandfathered, because if he's just cleaning it up, but if he's filling it in,
well, he's taken out the granite.
he's taking out the granite. I mean, we know that he's doing that.
That's the main issue. I don't see him fencing off all the danger areas very easily once he gets the granite out of there. If it's got any pits or falls or holes.
Well, according to him, and again, without a set of plans, according to him, he's gonna take the granite, move it over, and then he wants to take those, anything that's steep, and he wants to,
Push it in.
he wants to grade it, so if somebody's gonna fall off of it, they're gonna not fall 15 feet, they're gonna fall on a,
So he's gonna push it in.
right. he'll
Down the
push-
hill.
He's gonna push it down.
They're gonna
the
fall
hill.
down the hill instead of falling like into a pit.
Now, if he pushes it down the hill, will that access road he has disappear for all the people
No,
that use it?
no, because there's, like, here's the access road, and then there's a wall, which is over a wall, there's
All
a
right, so-
drop, behind the access road, there's an area where there's a drop, and people just have been throwing crap back
Well,
there.
that's what I mean, is he going to fill that in too, so people,
Well, that's the area that he's gonna fill in, and then once he gets rid of the tunnel, there's also gonna be a drop.
so,
Right.
so the stuff they throw in will end up in a river? If they throw-
No, it's not that close.
Okay.
It's not that close, there's still a significant distance. And then when you get to the river there's a granite wall going down, and it's still further back from the river.
Okay.
And there's like a whole wall, like a giant granite wall that's holding the river up. I mean, the river is further,
Okay,
it's further away.
so you don't think he'll take the granite wall?
Not the one that's
Out of
holding.
the river?
Not the,
I hope
yeah.
not.
No, he can't take the one for the river, that
Oh,
would be
you
crazy.
sure?
There's so much granite in this tunnel,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that he'd go through that in a lifetime,
Oh,
unless he's building a
He is,
castle.
somebody will buy it.
Somebody will buy it,
Exactly.
but,
It's money.
yeah.
He's
yeah,
mining money.
Yeah. Okay, do we want an NOI, or do we want an RDA updated, beefed up?
It's up to Philip, he knows the lingo better than I. That's
I'm
needed.
kind of leaning toward an NOI.
Okay,
I second that.
all right. So, this is our answer to this. I think this is the first RDA that we've ever rejected. Corinne, do you have the paperwork, Form 2?
No. Did that break down? Form 2 is to reject it?
Form 2 is that, for Form 2 is the form that we would issue
Approval?
when somebody, it is our determination of applicability.
Here, let's see if it's here. No, I can run and get it really quick. Form 2. Why is it just one page? It's not all here. Want me to run and get it?
Well, yeah, we need it.
I have 5, I don't have 2.
Yep.
3, 1. No, I can run and print it really quick,
Okay.
because I just have the signature page. Anything else you need?
No, that will do it.
Okay, I'll run and get that.
It's interesting seeing the owl from the other side,
Oh,
watching what it does.
can you see the owl?
Well, I can see what it's doing. I can see it tracking people across the room. It's interesting.
Oh, you mean the pictures that shows up on the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Determination. The following determination, a positive determination, no work within the jurisdiction. We usually do a negative determination, which means that we allow people. We have to do a positive. And we're gonna say the area described on the reference plan is an area subject to jurisdiction. And then he asked about the work is an area subject to protection. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. And we'll wait for Corinne to come back so she can,
Yeah, we need to have more information about how he's gonna go about doing this. He's gonna have to have trucks come in and take it out, so where is he gonna park those? Is he gonna stage the material somewhere in the meantime?
yeah?
It's tight back there and it's wet, so I definitely would like to see some more information.
Yeah, and he's gonna go, there is a way to get into it, which we walked, that is behind those apartments. But you're right, we need to see what the layout's gonna be. And he can hire somebody to survey it. Oh,
Underneath the tunnel, half the tunnel is flooded. Does that, what is, it's flooded because it's underneath the tunnel, but that doesn't change the fact that it's land that's flooded, that he's potentially gonna now fill in. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Once
so.
he takes the ground out, he's gonna put dirt in it and get rid of it.
So I'm not really sure what, the tunnel is flooded because it's wet, it's a wetland, a tunnel is flooded because, is it groundwater, what is it? So, right,
Yeah.
he needs to have it delineated and somebody needs to determine what that water is.
Yeah,
And then, there is a section that's clearly stormwater, there was water coming out of it, the storm drain.
You think the bottom of that tunnel is lined with granite?
It is, I walked
No.
on it.
Oh,
the bottom of it?
yeah.
It wasn't
I thought the
dirt,
bottom was sandy.
Well, I mean sand over granite.
oh,
Oh, I don't know.
Because if it was just dirt or sand, it would have washed away after all those years, right? Don't you think they'd have to have a hard base to it?
Yeah, maybe.
I must have shut this down. I
More
I see what
money.
you're saying.
Oh, sorry, who said that? That could be some big chunks of granite in the bottom of that.
I have a picture of the inside. I'm gonna go and look after I'm
Yeah, but I
sending you a
mean,
text.
But I mean, the base you didn't see, because it's overgrown, it's dirt.
No.
You can see the bottom of the floor?
Well, you're in the tunnel, yeah, I was walking on it.
All right, so what is it?
Oh, hold on
Here's a
second.
picture of it.
Oh, you were on that side. I was on the other side. It wasn't nearly as wet. I wish I could share my pictures, but that requires too much emailing.
So that's a lot of water, Philip? Is that like 6 inches? Maybe?
It's probably 2 feet at
Oh,
some
2
places.
feet.
It was deep.
Yeah, all right.
Oh,
I
wow.
wouldn't see through that amount of water, you wouldn't see.
I have. Yep, it is sand. Never mind.
Well, that's, yeah, you're seeing the sand, but under the sand.
Under the sand there could be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it's
Yep,
just going with past history, they just never made a tunnel with
No.
no base under it. It's gotta be something solid to channel the water.
There
Or
could-
it should be something
It
solid.
could just be sediment carried from, I just, I didn't bother digging.
Right, well, that's what I mean. It's, odds are, that's years of non-use, non-flow.
Well, clearly
Just take-
somebody's using it.
just take a bar and
Partying.
sound.
Yeah, take a bar, but
Just sound.
it could be, yeah, it should be something solid down there. Be a brick, be a
Cobble,
ledge.
cobble.
Well, I mean, it was it's where the water was channeled for the, so it
Right.
couldn't have been sand, you're right, it had to have
It had
been.
to be clear, it had to be dirt-free, I would, yeah, pretty dirt-free. They didn't
Right,
want a
to go
lot of
through the
dirt hitting their
turbine.
turbines, I'm pretty sure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice, look at that, that's even deeper than the water when I went and looked at it. Well, maybe not, you've got a good view of that. Mine reflect.
Yeah, I walked in as far as I could before it was over my boots.
You can't see my picture, but where is it? It's, yeah, I walked up to a certain point. I didn't wear my boots that day, except for just hiking boots. I should have worn my mud boots. It's very cool.
Yeah, no, the whole area was very cool.
Are we? Okay, got the paperwork. So can I have a motion to issue a positive determination number 1 and number 3. Number 1 is the area described on the reference plans is subject to protection. And number 3 is the work described on the reference plan is within an area subject to protection.
You got this one, Phil, or you want me to do it?
I was hoping you could do it.
I'll try. Motion,
You could just say so be it.
so be it. I like that.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Okay,
didn't know
so
we could do that. It opens a whole new,
we
realm
can do
of
that. We can do that.
okay.
All right. Otto, if you could just sign that. And then Philip, that will be another thing for you to sign.
Sure.
And,
So are we continuing this?
yeah, can I have a motion to oh, no. We are not continuing this because we're done with this.
Okay.
We just, reissued a positive
Yep.
determination of applicability and positive determination that is, and that is the end of it. Right?
He's gotta do the next step.
He's gotta go do the next step and file a notice of intent. Okay.
Right.
All right, I've got this. There's Ronnie Cox. Let me put this in here. And then I'm gonna take this with me, so you can sign it, Philip. Maybe I just bring this page. And I'll leave this with you. Okay, what else is on our agenda? Oh, right, can I see the extension for Cutler Road?
This one's ZBT, this one's Cutler. Did I give you the extension over there?
Oh, yeah, no, all right, you said,
Cronin, here's Cutler.
so they have until July. So what we can do is Cutler Road is asking for an
I
extension.
thought that project was dead too, but it isn't, obviously.
It's not dead. They had some, National Grid has been requiring a lot of these solar projects.
Yeah.
They were really struggling to get, they sent them off. Like when you put in an application, there's like a whole tree.
Right.
And so if you end up on the main trunk, you're like beeline right through and you get the permit. But
the
oftentimes
National
they're
Grid.
like, "Oh, we're gonna pull you over and we're gonna do an inspection. Or we're gonna make you pay for a study, or we're gonna make you do that. And then you can end up there and then you could do that for a while and sometimes they pull you in another direction. So once you get into that quagmire, there is a whole complicated, they even have an org chart once you start digging into the stuff. It's a nightmare. They got into that nightmare. Just like ZBT did, but ZBT got into another one that was a little more costly. So that's why they haven't been doing any work ultimately.
Okay.
They, they have a small area within our jurisdiction on one of their two sites. And they have a little bit of work to do there. So I'm actually okay with this project, and I'm okay on giving an extension. I feel comfortable with it.
Now, did they solve the runoff for the neighbors coming down the road? Was it just the neighbors had the issue with the runoff? And
Oh, there's the guy on the back of the hill. I think that they resolved that. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't heard from the guy.
okay, well, that was a highway issue that Tom had about putting in a culvert, and then it was, no, we can't do that, because
Oh.
the town would be responsible.
Right, exactly. The old Douglas Road issue. I have heard nothing about that. The
Okay.
site is stabilized. I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay. I just wondering that.
And they would need to, another reason to give them an extension is for them to go in and, they have a couple of basins in, and that's it. Some scraggly, they have questionable vegetation on the property, and it's kind of flat, it's not super steep.
All right, I just wondered if, for some reason, because we never heard back from the people that lived down the road about the water,
I haven't heard anything, but it doesn't mean that he's not upset.
whether it's two of them, about two different houses, but maybe wrong.
Yeah, there was just one guy who sat out there while they were doing construction.
Okay, but I thought two came to our meeting, but I'm not, then, maybe not.
I don't remember.
All right.
Okay, so, we're not gonna sign the paperwork today. Oh, we can't even vote on it, never mind. We didn't post it.
Table.
So we need to table it. We had the discussion, next month, we'll have to vote on it.
This is Cutler Road Extension.
Cutler Road Extension Solar Project, and they got their request in early, so when I talked to Mark Stinson about this, he said, if they got the extension in, you can just sign the paperwork whenever, as long as they got the request in early.
All right.
So we're good.
All right.
Okay. To be signed in May. And would you send them an email, Corinne, and just say that because it wasn't posted, we need to kick the can and we'll vote on it in May, and tell them it's not gonna be a problem.
Okay.
Okay, bills.
Well,
Okay.
we got a few more here.
Yep.
Might as well finish them all up, haven't we?
Oh, gosh. All right, public meeting, RDA, we did that. Bragg Road, oh gosh, I forgot about that completely.
Oh, we have another one, Cronin Road, 555 Cronin Road.
557 Cronin Road, certificate of compliance. Did we,
That's the one below the orchard, right? Breezelands, isn't that the address he used or not? Is this a different?
Cronin Road?
didn't we do the certificate of compliance for 557? Or
Didn't you sign it?
did we sign it?
Did you have to vote on it?
Well, if we did, we didn't vote on it at our meeting, did we?
This is what came in.
Well, it's not on the minutes. Is it on the minutes?
I don't think it was voted on.
Okay,
I think that's what we did.
all right. So, 557 Cronin Road.
So this is all Cronin Road stuff.
Gosh. Oh, they have this already, they have the signatures. Philip, we have signatures on this already, you guys came to the house and signed.
Okay.
There was, they were selling the property, I went out and looked at the property, it's up on Cronin Road. They sold the house, it is against a wetland, they built the house in like 2004, something like that.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't really a lot, they put the well right near the wetland, and then the septic is on the side. The yard was tidy, everything was stabilized, there was nothing for the Conservation Commission to complain about.
Okay.
It's
I just
totally
didn't
fine.
remember it, that's why I.
Yeah. So, can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance?
Motion to issue certificate of compliance for 557 Cronin Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we signed already. All right.
And we signed already.
National Grid.
Well, let's do Bragg
Oh,
Road.
Brad Road.
Okay, so Bragg Road was worked on by the Highway Department in the fall, something like that, and now Richard Demetrius has issue with the Highway Department for a number of reasons, but one of the things he was saying is that they should have taken out a permit because, they expanded the road near a wetland. And, the Highway Department claims that they didn't expand the road. I went out and looked at the site. I can't tell whether it was expanded or not. If it was like a little bit, the road looks great. So, one of the things that he did that isn't ideal is that he put hard pack on the side of the road on the shoulder.
You're talking about going down the hill away from.
So it's going towards this wetland where,
Oh, yeah.
there's like a little side road,
Yeah.
and then he put hard pack right next to the wetland. So, you know, hard pack is like those little gravel beads that you pack down, and hopefully in the sun it melts and it turns into one solid piece, but it always chips off. Well, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
these.
old road railings.
They're all chippy. It hasn't been warm enough to solidify. And there's this one section where it's actually eroding, and it's getting into the wetland, and then there's another section where it's right adjacent, here's the road, here's the hard pack, like here's the road, here's the hard pack, and here's the wetland. You know, boom, boom, and, it's probably not the ideal place to put hard pack that crumbles up and then washes away into the wetlands, so, clearly, we're not gonna make him take the road apart if he expanded it for like another inch or two. But I think that it's legitimate for him to maybe get rid of some of that hard pack that's washing into the wetland and replace it with, seed. To, you know, to put seed down.
Does,
What do you, I mean,
doesn't it run into drainage? Doesn't he just, I just remember you go down with the hard pack and then there's a catch basin, is it, or a catch, opening. And then it goes a little further and there's another one at Aspen. I thought there was a pipe under there.
well, there's a whole bunch, but once you get close to the, once you get hold on, let me just, I'm gonna bring the map up.
Doesn't it just dump it into the water that ends up behind that big beaver dam down there? Will
Here
we
we
get that
go.
other issue?
Well, let's get to. Bragg Road. That was Brookfield. Okay. Here we go. Huh, where's that little,
Here's Southbridge Road.
here's Southbridge Road, where's Bragg Road Extension? Where's Ed's house? Is that this? Yeah?
The-
Yeah, all right, so there's, right, okay. So, this is a slight, this is upland, this is the low spot of the road, right here.
Are you sure?
Yep. And then it goes back up.
Well, there should be Cronin Road.
No, no.
No, Cronin
Go
Road is
down.
way up
Those are
further.
all-
Here's-
See, Cronin Road is
Bragg is
way
the
up here. Look at how far Bragg Road goes. There we
Right, well,
go.
here, this is what we're talking
We're-
about, right
we're
here.
back- No, we're back down by Bill
No.
Russell.
I
I'm
thought,
not-
I thought it was coming this way you were talking about. You're talking about going the other
On
way.
the
No,
other way.
I'm talking about way down here.
Okay,
That's Bill Wright's hayfield there to the
Okay.
right.
yeah.
So this is Ed's house. This is the old Wright's house.
Yeah,
And then, there's like a little wetland right here. And then there's a stream that goes under, and there's like some stuff over here.
That's you here.
Right. So this little, it used to have some, asphalt on it, but it was all torn up and sort of cranky. And this has been turned into like a really nice smooth asphalted road, and they repaved this whole road. But this little wetland right here, has, this section right here has hard pack on it. And so I was wondering if it would be a good idea to get rid of that hard pack, which is like crumbling in a few places and going into the wetland. We get rid of the hard pack and just put grass.
is it, where does it,
Yeah.
isn't the other side that runs into Jacares Pond?
This had to be the relocation right there.
Yeah, there's a pipe that goes across the road right here from the wetland.
Didn't that one used to empty into this side and towards Jacares?
Yeah. Yeah, there's.
So the issue is you changed the pitch.
No, the pitch was the same at that point.
The issue is just that hard pack is eroding off the side, right?
Yeah, the issue is the hard pack is eroding over here into the wetland. There's a section over here, right adjacent to the road. Going up the road, it's on the right-hand side. That is getting a lot of water off of a contested piece of property
Contested by two.
by, you know, the highway department and a bunch of, and Richard and who knows. So, but there's water coming off of that property. And then the hard pack is really eroded there. And so I said, what if you get rid of the hard pack?
Okay.
Put a grass swale there instead. And so the hard pack won't go in. Is that a bad idea?
Aren't you
No,
still,
I think it sounds good.
aren't you still gonna get the road now in your swale?
Well, the road won't go in the swale, the hard pack is just like a little, is it just the shoulder? There's like a little shoulder.
Right, I understand. Is the issue the hard pack or the issue the water?
The issue is the hard pack, the water's fine.
So it's gonna be carried all the way down the side, right? You said, didn't you say can't picture what's on the side of the road there.
Oh, so, I know.
If
we
it's
can't-
hard pack on the side of the road, it's just gonna keep working its way down, and now it's still gonna go into your swale.
It's not going
That's why you
into,
need the grass seed, you need the seed to hold the bank together so it doesn't erode. Because
Right.
that hard pack is like marbly, it's like gravelly
Right.
instead of one solid bank.
Yeah, so
Or the grass
you can
will
grow
be up.
grass, you can grow grass in it then? I mean, it's not solid like a black.
No, he'd have to get rid of the hard pack.
All the way up the side?
No, not only from that little section where it's eroding. And then in front of the wetland. So,
How come he didn't file a plan or notice or anything?
well, that's kind of what the problem is. So he and I had this conversation a long time ago. He said, tell me what I have to do. And I said, if you're expanding the road, making it wider, you need to file. If you're not expanding the road, you just do it and just stay out of the wetlands. And, put up erosion control
All
where
right,
appropriate.
so by going in that area, theoretically, even though it's not road, he expanded the footprint of the road.
You know what? He says he didn't expand the road. Richard said he did. I don't have any proof. I don't know. At this point, it's like, what are we gonna do about it? And then when we went and looked at the area, there was hard pack on the side. Richard was upset because the hard pack was going into the wetland. And it was eroding, especially,
Okay, Richard's not here, I'll ask the question. What does Richard have to do with this, other than,
he's really mad at Jeremy about everything, and so this is one of the things he
but
is,
he's the one that pushed to have Jeremy elected?
yeah, well, not anymore, now he doesn't want it to have happen.
In the island, Otto, part of it belonged to Bill Wright, the very tip going towards the Wright house. And then the rest of it, as it went up the line, that belonged to Johnny Bragg. So what?
Okay, so give me, I thought we're talking about down, when it runs off, it comes into here. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, that's right.
So this is part of the Wrights property on this side?
No, this thing right here is a little slice of land that
Right.
belongs to Richard.
See?
Or actually, it really doesn't, because the town did some homework and it still belongs to the Wrights.
Oh, this,
The very tip.
Part of it, it's divided.
It's divided, there's like a few acres, well, you know what, there's like, I don't know,
they're fighting over it.
somebody's fighting over
Yeah,
it, I don't really know.
So this is,
This was Old Bragg Road, and that came up, and of course, that doesn't come back around to the main road again, but this down here, this was the Bragg Road relocation.
Okay.
Is there a width on file for the relocation portion, just?
You know what, I am trying to avoid getting involved in this.
so the old road used to come like this and then went up this way somewhere.
Yes, that.
Yeah, it used to go-
And that's why that's part of
Like
Wright's
in
property.
1960 something.
Right, and then Blake's ended up buying from Johnny Bragg. So when they did this, and then did that, what it did is it created this island in the center, part of it belonging to, it'd be probably Seth right now, and then part to Roll.
So, getting back to the conservation portion of this,
Yeah,
Jeremy should have filed at least an RDA with us to say, hey, we're doing work. And then we should have said, make sure that you don't expand, make sure you put up erosion control, and then we would have had a conversation about like, whatever. So, he really should have, and he needs to work with us a little bit more, and so that is, kind of a spank on his part.
Okay.
But on the same time, he's very happy to fix anything that we feel like it's inappropriate. And I said, right now, on this little section of the road,
yeah.
this tiny little section, there is rilling in the hard pack.
Okay,
So, and that is going as, we could just watch it, because I went in the pouring rain with Richard. So we could see the flow of water, and it was going, like the little pieces were going into the area of the wetland. So yeah, that area should definitely be taken care of, and this little section here also had hard pack on it, and I thought maybe that would be a good idea to remove the hard pack on the edge of the road and replace it with grass. A sturdy
Yeah, I agree with that.
grass, so the hard pack,
Remove any hard pack from the wetland, anything that's gone into the wetland. Remove anything that's really put down new net to hold it until grass is established.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
And then there's one more portion, there's this little section here, this is higher than here, if you can see it on my, here's high, here's low, it's not a huge slope, but it's a slope nonetheless. And then, there's a little swale that's been created, and the swale dumps right into the wetland, and there's no filtration. That swale is picking up road water, I don't know if it was there all the time, or if it's kind of new. What I said is, I'd like to see maybe some heavy-duty riprap, stuff that's not gonna get washed away by stormwater, put in to slow it down. We need a way to slow down and allow, the water to filter before it gets into the wetland.
Yes, agreed.
And I don't know what that looks like, other than riprap and creating, again, a grass swale there as opposed to, if there's hard pack, get rid of the hard pack, at least for some portion of it, slow the water down and allow it to infiltrate before it gets to the wetland. And, so I need to go on site with Jeremy if anybody else wants to.
Well, it depends what day.
And, right, no, I don't know, but
Well, let me know, I may take, I'd go along just because
you can see.
I'm
what
having
we're
trouble
talking about.
picturing the whole problem here.
Yeah, no, right, exactly, okay.
And I can't see whatever we do make Richard happy, because obviously if he's upset, he's upset.
Well, right, exactly, but I mean, the hard pack on that little section, I think,
All right.
is
Well,
something that could be addressed though.
I thought we were
because-
going the other direction, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth. I thought the other side was worse than this side.
No, the other side is actually fine. It's
They didn't
just,
use the same stuff then.
well, he did, but I think the road is not going,
Okay.
going in that direction.
All right,
Yeah.
which, whatever. When you talked about it, I figured we were talking about the other side of the, going down from Richard,
Yeah.
from Roland's.
No, yeah,
Right.
That's-
all right.
That's what
Yeah,
I
I
thought.
considered it being the other end of the street too, because I didn't realize Richard was involved in this side of the road, this end of the road.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I just,
I didn't either, but anyways,
anyway, so that little section,
all right. So,
All
I
right.
agree with whatever you said there.
okay,
Well,
I'll send you an email about
yeah, let me know sometime, I'll try to.
National Grid sent, a representative of National Grid sent, an email to, me through the forms on, you can go to the town forum and it ends up sending me an email. And they said they wanted to do borings. And I sent them an email back and they said, can we just do it because we, can be grandfathered? And I just said, you're not telling me where any of this is taking place, just can you send me more information? And crickets, I've heard crickets from them, so I don't know where they're doing the borings. Mostly it's fine, but the question is, if they do we want them to give us more information? Do we want them to?
Well, I mean, I'd be curious to know just where they're doing it.
Right,
aren't you?
exactly, I mean,
Yeah.
Are they doing a big power line extension, or is this a substation boring? or-
crickets, I mean, very little information, right,
They
so,
want people to know what
They
they're
don't-
doing.
yeah, exactly.
So
So maybe my response was enough for them to say, and I said it would be really great to know where this is taking place and what exactly this entails. And they said they were gonna put down corduroy, so clearly they have to go drive through a wetland somewhere, so,
See, it's, yeah, they'll just do it. Here,
yeah,
all right.
okay. What else do we have on the agenda?
Oh, we gotta do the important thing.
We did CBT already, right?
Yep, and check them all off. The important thing hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
Cutler Road Extension,
Yep.
that's gonna be next month. 749 Reed Street, we did that. 991 Main Street, emergency orders.
Oh, you didn't cover that, but that's a.
We talked about it last month, but I don't remember, and I don't see
You
it.
gave them an emergency,
That was the people place, right?
Yes,
Yes.
emergency something, whatever you called it.
Emergency certificate was discussed, a full discussion about the situation, emergency form was signed by the commission and voted on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we voted
Yeah.
on it and we voted to approve it, okay.
Yep.
What else do we have?
We got paid Corinne. That's the
do.
most important thing. She won't come back next month if we don't.
I have bills from Tim.
I see that.
All right, so
That's
those bills
important.
aren't gonna be signed by Philip.
Okay.
No,
You want me to hold all the bills for next month?
No, because they're gonna need to be signed. Are you ever around during the day?
sometimes sporadically, it depends on when I work from home. I'll try and get it next week if that's okay. I'll, try and take a day working from home and break off.
He can just
Yeah,
call me and I
I'm-
can
I'm
run
in
in,
while
because I'm
you're
home
open.
next week. We have school vacation. I can run in anytime he wants to meet me.
Oh, Corinne can meet
Oh,
you.
you're on vacation next
We've
week?
got school vacation next week, so whatever day you can make it, if you give me a call, I can meet you.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
That would be super helpful.
Yeah.
Actually, if that's the case, then I can leave all this paperwork. And you can just sign everything at once and you don't have to stop at my house,
Okay.
right?
That works for me.
And Jill's back
That works
too,
for me.
as of tomorrow, so the office can be open and Jill will be back as well.
Oh, yeah, well, he's not gonna be around then.
Those are the bills. Payroll.
Say that again, I missed that?
Oh, Jill's gonna be in tomorrow, but you're not home until tomorrow night
Well,
anyway.
Jill's gonna be in next week too,
No, I
all
won't be
week.
home until tomorrow night.
Oh, gosh, okay. Let's ratify payroll. Can you do the roll call for me?
I'll do that. You ready?
Yep,
All right, for week ending March 11th, the amount of $126.68.
okay.
For the week ending March 18th, the amount of $101.34.
Okay,
For the week ending March 25th, the amount of $101.34.
yeah,
And for the week ending April 1st, the amount of $101.34.
okay,
And the week ending April 8th, the amount of $101.34.
all right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I, what about it?
That's the wetland. That's the demarcation line between.
All right, we'll sign those and pass it along. Tim, bills, mailing reimbursement in the amount of $12.48.
Yeah, there's an old mailing and a new mailing,
All right, let me,
but Tim's got a whole thing.
is this Tim's?
No, that's mine. The two mails are mine,
Oh, okay, so
and
then,
the rest that were clipped together were Tim's. There's two different mailings, because one was certified and one was the
an
express.
express mail, okay, so
That's-
this
This
is,
is the new express.
all right, so can I,
That's certified. Certified express. Same thing.
Are we reimbursing you, Corinne, for the first one, or both?
For both of them. Both mails are mine.
All right.
The other
So,
is
you want me to make
Tim's.
a motion here?
Yeah.
All right. Reimburse Corinne for the amount of $12.48,
yeah,
and reimburse Corinne for the amount of $9.65.
For mail.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 And then the rest are Tim's.
All
There's
right, now,
Lucy
the
Stone.
first one says Valentine Land Care. So is it the
That's-
Hammer?
Nope, that's for Lucy Stone Park.
So that's for Valentine.
That's for
Land.
Valentine, and then there's some that are
Okay.
Tim's for the
Egg.
egg hunt.
Okay, so I'll take the Valentini.
All right, Valentine Land Care in the amount of $90.
A motion to pay Valentini, second. Philip? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And to reimburse Tim O'Brien for $167.09 for the egg.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, did Tim say where this is coming from?
I can give him a call tomorrow.
Please remove before submitting to
Say.
accountant. Okay.
And that's express.
Okay, well, I'll take that off. Okay, account, he has the gift account number on there. Okay, that is good. Right, these are the ones you can sign so far.
And I'll just wait for the third signature on those as well.
So Philip, you'll have a nice little pile of things to sign.
Sure. Better
Great.
bring a good pen.
Exactly, full of ink.
Even if it's at night, I can come whenever. Just let me know what's
You can
convenient for
come
you.
at night?
Anytime you need me to come. Just give me a call, I live right
No
up the
problem.
street. I don't live that far.
Okay. All right, if that works for you, I might be able to swing by tomorrow night, like 6:30-ish.
Oh, that's no problem, I'm here till 6 anyways. Yeah, I'll just come to the meeting. I'll just come in here for the meeting and meet you. Does that
Okay.
work?
Okay.
I think they have a meeting tomorrow night. If not, I'll hang around till 6:30.
Got that, we got this.
So let me write that down so I don't forget.
Oh my gosh, all right, is there anything else?
I just have this one financial thing that she left, no extra mail,
Okay.
just
I
the
will-
financial report thing.
And do I sign this one? Is this two?
Yep. All right, this is payroll.
Do you wanna call me tomorrow and let me know if you're definitely coming?
Say that again?
You wanna call me tomorrow and definitely let me know if you're coming or not? I'll wait to sign papers?
Yeah, I'll give you a call on the way.
Okay.
I work about an hour out of town, so I'll give you a call an hour ahead of time, let you know.
Works, okay.
Got 'em all?
All right.
I think so. Okay, let me see, this one. Replace with new. I'm gonna get rid of this, sorry. Let's see if Adam Christie sent me. Guys, good to see all my mail. Adam Christie, here we go. ZBT, and you changed it to 5/29/2024. Okay. I'm gonna email this to you right now. I'm
Okay.
forwarding this email to you,
Yep.
which is
ZBT?
the ZBT Reed Street. Okay. Please print attached and replace the, okay, that is good, okay. I just wanna make sure, okay, so we have ZPT Energy Solutions.
So I got that down.
We have ZPT Coy Hill. We've got payroll. We've got expenses and expenses. We have 2 expenses from Tim. I removed this. Does he want you to save this?
He didn't say, I'll just put it in the file with his stuff. if
Okay, that
that's what
sounds
you want me
good.
to do.
We have two that were Corinne's
Oh,
mailings.
the termination of applicability. Here's the thing. I only have these pages.
Yep,
I put the rest of it in the folder.
perfect.
This is Ronnie Cox's. Do I have a yellow sticky? Do you have a sticky in your drawer?
I don't, but there's this we could write on the back.
Oh, I just wanted to attach it to
Oh.
the,
I did not write the stickies.
oh, look at this.
Oh.
This'll work. Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy? Nobody has stickies.
was gonna say, you can just clip it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so this is. Ronnie Cox, RDA. So I didn't really fill anything out on Ronnie Cox's except for the 2 check boxes, because you can just take that.
I can do the
from-
rest of that, yep.
You can just take that from the document. Cutler Road Extension, we're gonna sign this in May, okay, and then Ronnie Cox's, this is gonna go in.
So Ronnie gets the original DEP gets copy.
The pile for Philip. I just wanna make sure that we have everything, and then what is this? Oh, here's the certificate of compliance for Cronin Road, just to give that back to you.
That one was already done.
And then this goes back to you, because that is ratified.
That's done, that's done. All right, so let's put the stuff that needs to be signed here.
Okay, Phillips.
That's all Philip's signatures.
Yep.
Cronin is done.
That is for Philip.
Okay, that's
All right, this is going to our May meeting pile. Oh, what is this?
Boy.
Oh, sorry, Ronnie, they didn't pay for this, okay. Got all that? Yep. Certificate of
Work sent in
compliance.
May.
Oh, that goes to you too,
Here.
right?
Yep.
Is that everything? Do we have everything? All right,
57.
we're doing great on our budget. Purchasing. Okay, Philip, how you doing?
So that's that.
I'm doing good.
Falling asleep? This is what you wanted to do tonight, right? Where are you?
Yeah.
You're down in the
What's
Cape. Anywhere exciting?
So I'm doing work with the Park Service at the National Seashore, doing some restoration work for the Herring River and Wellfleet.
Oh, nice.
So we're actually pulling some old equipment out, legacy equipment out. We did that today, came out today, and we'll be driving back, packing up tomorrow morning and then driving back tomorrow afternoon. So, yeah, restoration work to hopefully bring some of the fish back.
Nice. And it's a beautiful day to be out on the Cape too, right?
It was gorgeous today, absolutely.
Like so crazy beautiful. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks for coming on, Philip. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Yeah, no problem. I'd let you know, but maybe it didn't go through, I don't know what happened.
No,
but,
it didn't. It
yeah.
just, I had a flurry of texts from my son and a bunch of people, so it got shoved down and I just must have missed it.
No problem. I'm glad I could jump on and help.
Me too. All right, thanks.
All right, take care.
We'll see you next
Have a
time.
nice night.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Oh, motion to adjourn was seconded.
All in favor? Bye.
Bye.
May.